Hello, people at House are doing. So I just want to talk for a second because with this carbon tax and everything like that, it's ridiculous how they treat the older people, especially older people of Ireland, and this government. They just want to get every last cent out of everybody they can. And after that, they couldn't care less about your number to them. Um, it's mad. Like I'm talking about, the majority of older people I know don't have central heating, things like that. They have a fireplace. You know that's what keeps them warm. And it's ridiculous that some of them have this. For 2 bags of coal, two big bags of coal, they pay €30, and that's €40. And the majority of that goes to the government. It goes to tax. It goes to the carbon tax and this that and the other. Um, and it's really sad. It's really really sad to see that happening to rural Ireland. It doesn't really affect the cities because some city houses are not up to date, but it takes money to insulate a house, um to have solar panels, things like that, and these people rely on it. I know one person who relies on it. He gets a bag of coal a week, lights his fire, and now halfway, you won't find, the amount of money going down the drain, if you know what I'm saying. Like that man shouldn't have to spend, the amount of money he has to spend on the cover. And I keep saying this and I keep saying this, and every time, I get shrugged for saying this because I keep saying it to county councillors and to senators and think people like this, and they just absolutely hate me for it because then they hate me at the Chinese embassy anyway. But they keep saying that it's not the European countries. Granted, there is some European countries that are pumping out smoke every 24/7, from big industrial factories, big corporations. There's some corporations in Ireland that are very bad for the environment. Not a word's been said about them. They're just brushed under the carpet. Nothing's been said about them. And then when the only paddy lights his fire and tries to keep himself warm in the winter, they have the army out and they shoot the man, because that's the type of this country now. It's just, purely against anybody that is just unbowing to their agenda, in other words. And it's China. China, like you see the amount of smoke in some cities, they have to wear masks before the pandemic because the amount of smoke, pollution coming up in the air from the Chinese industries, Chinese sweatshops. And you never see anybody going over there and complaining. Because they're complaining about Ireland. They complain about Ireland. A few older people lighting a few fires. It's not going to blow. It's not going to kill the atmosphere. And that's straight away. That's putting it straight. But the big corporations in Ireland, some of them might be killing the atmosphere, because they pump out a lot more smoke and a lot more industrial waste than than 150,000 fires. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that they have this. I know at the end of the day, people will say, coal and oil will run out eventually, and that's true. That's true. Eventually, there won't be any more resources left in the earth. In the earth. But we're still a good bit away, and I understand that because obviously, the earth only has a limited amount of resources. Coal and iron and everything like that. Eventually, everything will run out. But we're not near that yet, and it's just the thing that if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. And they give out about Ireland not meeting its agenda, European agenda, whatever, climate agenda. And Ireland has done a lot over the last few years. A lot of people have gone off fires because it's too expensive to keep it going and everything. And it's sad because beforehand they stopped people burning turf and everything like that. It's sad. And the smokeless coal, for example, we have a fireplace here. We burn smokeless coal, because it's a bit more cheaper. It's €18. It's not €30, but you might as well nearly pay €30. It's a small bit cheaper. It's a small bit cheaper for a big bag of coal. It's 18. You save €2. But at the end of the day, it doesn't. I don't see any difference. I really don't see any difference. Maybe it's just me, but But yeah, but at least we have an insulated house. The council house. It's an insulated house, which is obviously keeps the heat in too. But there is people unfortunate enough not to have this. And people, the government have to start realizing this. That people can't just, with a click of a finger, magic away their fireplace and have a big insulated house. It takes money. And older people don't have the time and don't have the money to be paying that. Like some of my family members, they, as they would say themselves, they're not too far away from the grave. That's just putting it in their words what they would say. And why should they, insulate the house and everything like that when they lived there for the last 50 years? And during the 60s, during the 70s, and during the 80s, nobody cared less. And then all of a sudden, everybody's going to them and giving out about them having a small fire. It doesn't make much sense, doesn't it? And it's, as they say, half the money from that coal, what they buy only coal, goes towards the government. They're making a huge buck out of it. But anyway, thank you for watching. Subscribe for more and bye.